Good morning. So, getting ready to get started again. um, Today we're going to continue on with our Excel publisher merge, create get some images possibly into our into our tiles, and then we're going to start some work on our cards that are going to use for our Pokemon game. So, a lot of the cards are going to be there's going to be a lot of them. So I might do a few off to the side, but ultimately what we're going to do is we're going to set up the spreadsheet, and then um, it should be an easy factor just putting in the necessary fields, values, and then when we go back to our merge, it'll just show everything new that we created. So I'll do a lot of them online as we go through these. It'd just be kind of a brainstorming for getting new ideas, new things in there, and so I don't necessarily think I'll do all of them as part of the stream, just because I'm sure I'll come up with some, and it's just easier to write them in when you think about them sometimes. So what I've been doing here is I just kind of started setting up doing the images that we're going to use in our prototype. So it's not going to have a whole lot of great images. My idea here is to just start getting some stuff in there that allows our tiles to look a little unique. Now, there's some stuff you can do to start making it look a little better. I just want to show you how to do the images in here. Things like cutting them, shaping them, making them look like they're part of the individual tile areas is kind of the trick. So what you'll have to do is shape the image, and then when you stick it into the box, you can expand and shape, the shape that you want it. So in our case, we'd want them to be individual pieces that actually would look like the pie piece, so that when you stick them into the necessary areas, they look fluid. You can overlap or maybe create an image that only carries, goes into those certain areas, but ultimately you're going to have to come up with a way to create your images. So there's some people who are more artistic. I'm not one of them. So I take the image. I'm learning these tools myself. I mean, I know how to do the mail merge thing, but when you start trying to manipulate the images to be certain shapes and fill in the gaps, that goes into a little bit higher skill levels. I mean, eventually, hopefully, I'll be there. But ultimately, it's hit or miss for, when you're just doing colors or basic stuff, it's easy, but it's a little trickier if your stuff is not rectangular shaped. That's when things kind of can get a little tricky. You can add images or fill shapes with images, but unfortunately I haven't figured out how to do that with a merge field. So you can go out and grab it, but then if you go out and grab the field and it's not a merge field, it's just going to stay the same for your entire thing. So that's not great. So you end up having trickier setup. So I don't know. There may be a way, and if I figure it out, I will be sure to include that in our updates. So what I'm doing here is I already kind of did a forest one, and now I'm gonna go try and do a mountain one. But I'm looking for top-down mountains, because I think top-down mountains, I mean, we're looking down at our tiles, right? We're gonna have our little people walking around on these. But I wanted clip art, and I thought some of this stuff isn't clip art. So let's see if I can actually find one that specifically only does clip art type. Let's see. Clip art is usually more cartoony, and it's lower graphics, faster rendering. I like animated looks. I mean, for Pokemon, I think that fits better. You can do realistic looks, obviously, try to find real mountains and do cool stuff like that, but unless you're going to have the graphics of your board game be, realistic looking Pokemon, or, something that looks like live action Pokemon, like a la Detective Pikachu, you probably don't, you want your stuff to kind of go along with probably the board games, or not the board games, the video games and the card games. So if your stuff is kind of along that lines. Yeah, these aren't colorful though. I kind of wanted something with a little more color. Is there another type? What if we just say, not line drawings, GIF? Let's see what GIF options are. And I don't want to take too long to pick these out. But a lot of these are realistic photos. All right, so we have to go with the side view because I don't know if the top down's gonna work. Let's just say top down. Just say mountains. Clip art. This will probably give us our give us a little bit more options. I guess I'm visualizing something a little bit more, you know, just like gray mountains. That, I mean, I guess I could use that, but that's not square. I think since my image is going to be square, at least for now. That's great, but they're all without color. May just have to be a simple shape that we stick in there. Let's go with this one. It's kind of weak, but it'll do the trick. Save image as. And we'll just call this one Mountains. Let's see, what did I have it named here? Is it Mountain? Nope, it's Mountains. Okay. So let's go ahead and go find us one that's kind of a cool water image. I feel like I'm talking like, what is this, the painter. If you just take it easy and be calm about it, you can just enjoy the beauty that you are creating on your canvas. Yeah, trying not to be that guy. I don't want to put anyone to sleep, but heck, I put myself to sleep if I started hearing myself talk like that. I'm not a cool dude type of talker, but I think what it is I'm just distracted by my thought process, and as a result, I end up starting to talk monotone and sleepy, and it just starts to sound a little weird, so I apologize for that. Okay, so let's go with simple water. Let's look for top down. I noticed I was able to find some stuff with top down on the forest. Top down. I guess that kind of looks watery. That one looks like a kind of a high graphics watery. I don't know if I want high graphics because that's, well, we're not really in the water though, because we're going to be walking around. It's going to be like beach. Let's do a beach clip art on here. Let's see. I don't know what a top-down beach clip art's going to look like. The thing is, I need it to be kind of circular. No, I guess that'll be fine, because if we do end up doing the individual images for each tile, that'll actually be better. Right now I'm just showing this basic. We're going to have it just set up so it shows up on all the pictures, but if I do it this way, I don't know if there needs to be a boat, but yeah, let's take that one. Why not? Not going to be overly complicated here. Ultimately, I'll assign these to the individual pieces, and that will rotate the water, and everything will start to kind of look okay. Now we need a volcano. How about volcano pieces? Top-down volcano? I don't know what a top-down volcano might not look good. I may have to actually pick an actual volcano. Volcanoes are always in islands, apparently. Ow. All right, let's take this one. See, I'm So I'm going to have watermarks on stuff, but that's fine. Again, this is just for prototyping. It's not going to have any kind of sale value. Obviously, if this game ever went to, maybe we should do something like that, huh? Something like lava-ish area. You know, you're looking for, yeah, let's do that. Hope you have some good shoes. That's this looks kind of fire walking, fire walkie, fire walkie, Jabberwocky. Okay, so we're gonna go here. We'll say Volcano. So maybe it's just fire or heat or something like that. Now the only other one I think we need one for our towns. So let's kind of see what we have for an option of sidewalk. Sidewalk. Oops. That's not a. It's not gonna work. Yeah, I don't like those options. That don't even look. How about street? Street? Oh, that's even worse. I look like I'm playing video games. I don't want that. How about path? I don't know. I'm not terribly fond of any of these. Don't feel like something like if I was going to put down a town in, you know? I want it to be something that looks like a town, sidewalk. Let's do something top down. Oh, let's just see what happens. Pokemon World. Pokemon Town. Well, there you go. See, those kind of look like something you might stick an actual town in. See, there's a Pokemon Town right there. 44 Pokemon Town ideas. So some of these could be kind of good. I'd rather it be kind of blank if for no other reason I don't want to have actual buildings on it. So there is the drawback there. I was kind of hoping just to have like, you know, something, I don't know, something grassy, something plain. Because we're going to put down our own little guys and our own little shop tokens. And I don't want them to conflict. Because it's going to be kind of random when you discover the guys in the town. I doubt we can do this top-down Pokemon Town. No buildings. That's why I'm asking for too much. I know. You can always. There's only going to be so many clip art options in the world, so sometimes you just got to take what you can get. I mean, obviously, we'll take this one. Why not? It'll do the trick for our prototype. We'll just call this one. I'm actually going to call this one Town. I'll say save. And then I'm going to go back over here and call this, change this to Town. Oh, come on. What are you doing? All right, so I'll save that. And now, oops, that's probably not going to work because I think it actually cares about the .jpeg. I have to put that on there. And we'll copy this down to here, and then we'll go here. And we'll copy this down to here. Do the same thing here. So it only happens to be that you don't have to use all JPEG, but oops, you do have to make sure you have the right extension on there. You can use other type of image files, You just have to have it correspond to the actual file name. So this path, all this is saying that it's a path. And when you have, I'm not even totally sure I need the /, but I did and it worked. So we're going to stick with it. I think that just means it is a path. And this is starting at the local location. So let's save this. All right, so now when we scroll through here, these are all of our image files. So as we're in the mountains, and then we keep along, got our beachfront, and you know, our town tiles. So now we got our tiles here with all of their different images. So that actually gets us a little bit closer on what these are going to look like. I mean, ideally, it would be our individual pieces, or at least our individual pieces might not, maybe they have nothing on them, but we have to put a path over the top of it. And then this image could actually be enlarged to, let's see if I can find my image file. It's kind of hard to get to it sometimes, because if I can change this to be a little transparent. So let's see here, format, it's a picture box. Let's see if I can make it, pretty sure I've selected my image. Yep. Where's that? Save building block, save as picture, we already know that. Save as building block, change text. I don't want to change text. I want to make it oh, that's what I think I'm shooting for there. I must have had the wrong thing selected. Save as. Let's make sure that we have the right thing selected here. So I'll go here. Oh, that's not it. I don't even know what that is. That's the tile ground file. Tile ground? Tile background. Oh, what did I do? No, it is tile background. Do I have two of those on here? Oh, maybe I didn't actually set that up as a picture tile before, but now I have it in there twice. So let's delete that. When you set these up, I had set it up earlier as tile background being just a normal text box. This is not a normal text box. This is a picture box that you insert using the picture link, or you can set it up using, or in the mail, or when you're on the mail wizard, it also has a picture inserted as an image. So that's what happened there. And this is, I got it to, dang it. It's kind of a pain when you have a bunch of stuff on your drawing. It can make it difficult to find your things. It's like I can't select it because I don't know where it is. Find your, I know I put a corner that I extended it so I could get to it. Well, I'm having some bad luck finding it. Where is my image? Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. I'm trying to select this, but as you can see, we have all these other objects in the way. And they are not gonna, and then this pops up. Let's shrink this, just so that I can make room to get to the item I want. There we go. Found it. Yay. So let's see if I can do some formatting on this now. Change picture. This is what I wanted. Now let's change picture. Apply to background. Format picture. Here we go. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to go in here, and you can do a variety of different things on these things. You can change their size, obviously. You can have fill effects. Fill effects should allow See, there's a limit on what you can do apparently. Transparency, let's try cranking up the transparency on this image to 50%. And let's see if that does anything. So the idea there is that these are a little less visible. And if that worked, our stuff should shine through a little bit more. I'm not sure if that if that's more visible or not. Maybe I don't have it enough. But when you do transparency, what it ends up making them is not only transparent, but it pushes them, it fades them out a little bit. And so that's kind of what I was shooting for. And let's see if I can format this picture a little bit more. Let's shape effects. Let's take transparency up to 90% just to see if that's if that works. Yeah, see, it's not quite doing what I want it to. Let's see, apply background, format picture. Now, it could just be that everything that's behind it is shining through it, but it's not fading. I don't think that's normally how that works. But it could be that there's some limitations in what you can do with a male merged image. You know, it's sometimes these, like you said, with the male merge, I couldn't do shapes. I can't apply these to a shape, which would be really nice because I could put it in a triangle and it would just chop it off and it would be a triangle, right? So there's obviously some amount of limitation because you can see this has no color. Let's see if I change this to, I don't know, black. And then I change this. I don't know, will this mess up my image altogether? Guess we'll see. I don't know what it's going to do. Didn't do anything. That wasn't very helpful, was it? Yeah, see, I don't think you can actually change the picture in a way. Change picture here just changes the picture. It doesn't actually, you know, you don't change anything about it. That just actually lets you pick something else for your photo. I know this is not exciting, but you know, part of the learning process. What is that? Format picture. Oh, maybe that one will do it. Did I find another thing that let me do it? Aha! Found it. Okay. There we go. I formatted the picture, so it's going to be a little bit uglier, but it'll be more faded. So it'll be more in the background and our other stuff can show up. There we go. Now I do this, and you can see now they're behind. It's easier to see our words. Now eventually, obviously, we will have better words. You know, we'll have actual path there. Instead of it saying path, it'll be a path that runs around the angles there. Now, how we implement that, I don't know. Maybe I'll have, yeah, I don't know. Because we want our path areas to all interconnect. But at the same time, how am I going to do that? Because if I make individual images, then I have to make my images smart enough to, or, you know, considerate of their interaction with the other tiles or other spots that they're going to connect to. And that's kind of hard to do. So, I don't know. Maybe okay, so there's some cool tricks that I've kind of played with in the past, and I may have to work something out like that. But basically what you can do is there are conditionals that you can stick into some of your merges or into some items. And it's like if blah, then blah. And I'll have to remember how I did that with the other tools. But what's happening is if say for example, we might be able to put a path that kind of goes all the way around, you know, an image, but it layers maybe sitting on top of one of these path things. And then we can set the transparency of a field that allows it to shine through. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So we'll have the mountain all the way in back. We'll have the path sitting on top of it. But we may have to come up with a way to like change the transparency of certain fields so that they hide the path. That's my current thinking. Maybe we can work something out. I'll play with that offline. But this is kind of showing you how you can connect your beachfront, back, or your different images to it. And I'll do more of that. Maybe I'll do some of that offline too. I don't know. I don't want to make everybody go through my learning process of what I'm doing. And then if I do it, I'll save one or two of them and bring it onto my next stream. We are going to do this again this afternoon, so I'll be doing some more work then. I don't know how much I'll be working it between now and then, but between then and tomorrow is when I'll probably do some other stuff. Right now, I wanted to get the images in there, and now let's start switching over. So it's been about 25 minutes. Start switching over and start working on some cards for the Pokemon and the items and that kind of thing. So we'll have to create another sheet. Let's just go over here, and we will call this one, let's rename it. We'll say Pokemon. So it's actually a pretty easy task. Let's see, let's call it area cards. Because yes, there's Pokemon, and then we're going to have one eventually where we do item cards. Encounter cards. Yeah, let's do encounter cards. Rename encounter. And then we'll have to have one where we do, I'll have to go look at my list. And this one, let's see. Sorry about that. It's over here. That was our drawing, our very, very mock-up drawing. But what we really want is our brainstorm. And this is our stuff. So we have encounter cards, which would be, oh yeah, we talked about having different decks for our encounter cards. Which has its benefits and its negatives, so let's see if we could do it with singular cards, because the fewer things that we have to pack separate or set up separate, the better. And the idea of the original idea with an encounter cards was that it just basically calls out the different locations that an encounter could be on, and then we would just basically put in whatever would be. So if we're like in a town, or if we're on a path, or if we're on blah blah blah, it would actually just say this is what you put there. So every encounter card has every possible location, and you just look and say, okay, this one says you encountered a Pokemon. This one says you encountered you found a town or a shop or whatever, and then each one gets handled correctly. Now, if we have individual decks, I don't remember what the benefit to that was. Probably why we should have wrote more notes on that. But let's do it as one. Since that's what we're thinking right now. But first, we're also going to need a Pokédex. But I don't think that needs to be unique to, so we don't need to do a publisher mail merge for that. That's really just going to be maybe a publisher page. But it's just going to be designed what it is, and then we just print them out for each player. Unless we decide to come up with something unique for them. I don't know. But let's not worry about that. We're going to have Pokemon cards. We have player tokens and meeples. Those you can't really do a mail merge for. Gym markers don't matter. Pokemon, money tokens, legendary time of day tile. That's again just going to be a mock-up. So I guess that's it. Item deck, trainer deck. Yeah, we probably want to have our trainers be in a separate deck. So my thought was that I think with the path deck and off path and town deck, instead of telling you what to grab and put there, it would just be that, right? So if you're on the path, you draw it, and it could be anything that would show up on the path deck or on the path. And therefore you didn't have to have a separate trainer deck, because if it says put a trainer, so it's kind of like the two different approaches. One is how many different decks are we going to have of stuff you can put down? trainers, NPCs, items, etc.? Or do we just do an encounter deck and you find those items? The encounter cards are already those items. I think because you can maybe win items, or the trainers are going to be maybe in a gym, I think I'd rather have them be called out separately so that we can put them into these locations when needed, but they could be anywhere. So our trainers are not forced to only be in a certain location. It just says, hey, you encountered a trainer, you flip a trainer, and then that trainer might have certain Pokemon from the encounter deck. So I think that's how we're going to go with those. And it'll tell you how many, maybe not even how many Pokemon. Maybe it just depends on where they are. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just kind of thinking out loud, trying to think of the different things that we can do with the trainer decks and how we might make that appear. It's getting cold. I actually have my heater on behind me, and I'm still kind of freezing. I don't know. It's you can see that little light behind me, kind of moving out every now and then. You'll see it come around the side of my my blanket block that's hanging in there and preventing the glare from the heater showing up on my screen. But I may have to pull out the old blanket over me because I didn't actually bring down my blanket shirt or whatever I called it. Alright, so let's go do this. So, area cards. These are these are the Pokemon. I'm trying to see what that would, oh, decks for each type of Pokemon, but I'm calling them area because areas are the type, but I don't want to have, so we can just say type, let's say card, we'll call it card, and then we'll say type of the card. So this could be, I don't know, water, you know, we could have some water Pokemon, and let's create about 20. That's 1, 2, we did 9, so we'll do 10, and then we'll do a mountain type. And then let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Up, I didn't have enough. And then we'll have water, and we have volcano, which is fire, I guess. Alright, let's say fire, because that's what the Pokemon are. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then, I haven't named the card yet, but this is what it's going to be. So the stuff that we have on these cards. So, not every card will have everything, because not everything, so it could just be, is it an energy? Energy? Type, and then this would be category? Category. And then this could be, we can have us a couple energy cards, and then we can have us Pokemon. Gonna have a lot of Pokemon. And then maybe we have a couple special. Now these are not going to be items, so special could be energy, could be whatever, but we'll have what they are and what you can actually put into your deck. I mean, they can all go into your deck, but these are going to be the kind of things that you can pull out. So let's say so this is kind of tricky. So some of the things that we wanted our Pokemon to have is they're going to have their HP. So this is their starting points. HP, they'll have their strength, they'll have skills. And skill 1 and skill 2. How many skills can a Pokemon actually have, right? I mean, some of them could have 3, let's say ability. And we'll say skill 1 level. Skill 1 level, no, we won't have a skill 1 level. Skill 1s don't have a level. They are your first skill. They are what you have. So we'll delete that one. But let's put in here skill 2. Not everybody will have all the skills, but we'll call them skill 2 level. And what this is going to be the minimum level you have to be in order to uh-oh. I think has it been 90 minutes since I turned that on? Okay. Yeah, it's telling me that I had my streaming setup turned on for 90 minutes, so it's kind of weird. Hold on a second. Let me get some more, just so it's not quite so dark in here. I'm going to set my light to be a little less dark. Just a minute, just a minute. There we go. Get a little bit more light. I don't know how much more that helps, but it's a little bit. We've only got about 20 minutes left to go. We're going to keep trying to plug away here and getting these going. We'll do a little bit more this afternoon. Boy, I am going to have to go get me some lunch after this. So, all right. The ability, which is going to be also, let's see, maybe they only gain the ability. Abilities, I'm considering are like the TCG cards. They have this, some guys have these special abilities that sit at the top, and it's just something that Pokemon can do. It's not a skill thing, it's just always active. Well, if you have conditions that need to be met, then obviously those have to be met, but it's one of those things that you don't necessarily have to do, but it's always available, and it doesn't generally have a cost related to it. Like, you don't have to pay energy for it. Just one of those extra bonus things, like a bonus ability. But I'm also going to have a level on that. Not all the guys are going to get that right away. Ability level. So this basically just says, okay, well, this lets you know kind of what Pokemon are going to get. So it's kind of a foresight. These things can get stronger. Skills get stronger as your guy levels up. So do your, but you may not get certain skills until you've leveled up past a certain point. If you evolve, that changes your Pokemon completely, and you'll have the skills and stuff related to that Pokemon. You won't have the skills from your previous, because we're not doing, there's no overlapping. You just evolve and you become something different. Probably stronger, because that's what the idea is. Now, one of the things I was mulling over in my head, and I thought this might actually be helpful in our in the game, which I like the concept of, and this is one of the things I believe is also partially implemented in like Go as well as the video games, and that's the idea of individual stats. Okay, so my thinking behind this is our decks are going to have, we don't want them to grow too big, but I like the idea of Pokemon having a max level of 100. Now, my considerations for this game is to have it so you don't actually ever reach 100, because it'll take too long. But the ability to go to 100, so if we do campaign games or that kind of thing, Pokemon can get bigger. So it's an opportunity to learn and let your guys grow beyond their capabilities. And maybe even evolving may require some high level stuff. You may not get to use a fully evolved Pokemon or use a Pokemon's really high level skills for very long in the board game Be- because you'll be at the peak. You know, the game's coming to an end by the time you're able to do that. But if you do a campaign game, the stuff you encounter as you go into new regions and do more stuff, your Pokemon can continue on past the levels that you might attain um, through playing a regular one session version of the game. So if you like that idea, then your Pokemon can just kind of keep growing. Maybe as we add more regions, maybe there'll even be an expansion, a secondary region to play a campaign. And you can go even farther. And the idea is that maybe you can earn about 25 levels per region. Realistically, the game will be set up to allow you to go into the next region at a high level, and then you can get about 25 levels per region. So in theory, by the time you get to like a fourth region, you will be able to reach 100. Now, those are some pretty big Pokemon, and it might be interesting to actually get to that point. I mean, there's a whole bunch of regions. I mean, what isn't every gen of Pokemon considered a different region? You got the Kanto region and there's a bunch of others. I don't remember them all by heart. But if you have those, you're able to push forward into these different regions and get stronger and stronger and stronger. Maybe reach a level 100, and for a few of your Pokemon, probably not all of them, but some of them. By then you'll have some of the extra abilities that allow you to spread experience, and in your Pokemon that you're using for the fighting get stronger as you go in this board game. Okay, so again, some of the things that we need. So the idea is that if we're going to have that, you got to have starting stats or stat abilities that you can increase. Now, I'm thinking they will have a max, maybe 10, but you might have a starting stat for each one, and that comes with the ability. Maybe they're at the level. Maybe a stat starts at the same level as the Pokemon you garnered. Maybe. Or maybe, yeah, let's just put them in there. We'll just have them in there. We'll say some of the strength is one of the stats. So let's go ahead and put in, it's a stat, but it's actually not one of the primary stats. Primary stats are defense, stamina, and offense. Okay, so what these are, looking at my notes. So the idea here is your defense will actually help increase your HP. No, defense actually increases, it's a damage reduction skill. So when you take damage, you can actually subtract your defense from whatever damage is dealt on you. It's not a huge thing, and all these aren't supposed to be huge things. They're supposed to be boons that you can get by focusing. Each time you gain a level for your Pokemon, you might gain something. You might gain some stamina, you might gain some defense, you might gain some offense, but you'll gain something. It's rather than getting a new card into your deck, because ideally, if you can reach 100, we don't want your deck to have 100 cards. You have 600 card Pokemon. You're dealing with 600 cards in your trainer deck, and that's just insane. So the goal is that your deck probably won't exceed 25 normally. The idea is that stamina is a bonus card. So at maybe every 2 stamina points, you get a bonus card. So if that goes up to 10, you can get up to 5 extra cards in your Pokemon's deck, which is stamina. Allows you to live longer. A little bit more you can do. You're not as likely to get knocked out. You're more resilient to getting knocked out as well. So stamina and defense kind of work together, right? So stamina gives you more cards to work with. Defense gives you more damage resistance. Offense, on the other hand, is actually, I guess I did not actually, I guess I have strength set up as your offense. So it's strength, defense, and stamina. Not offense. Sorry. Don't want to have too many things in here. There's too many things to consider. Each level gains a stat, strength, cards in hand, stamina. So our Pokédex is going to have these stats in it, and then you'll actually gain a card every, I believe it's every 5 levels to your HP, or to your deck size, which is your HP. So your base deck is your HP, and then stamina is like a bonus to your HP, I guess. So when you take damage, essentially you'll be. All right, I don't want to go into too much. I'll have to lay it out on paper because I don't want to start making up things in my head and then not write them down. But HP is your deck size. Oh, no, not deck size. HP. Say if your Pokemon, the starting one is, they're always going to be at least level 2. So we'll say 2. And they're going to have a starting level. Not all Pokemon start at the same level. Oops, let's do this one. And say we'll have some level, level 5. These are your starting Pokemon. Let's put a little marker in there too. So we're gonna have a lot of pieces of information on here, and that's fine. It's just we just got to make sure we set them up and give it all starting Pokemon. So we're gonna. These guys won't actually be in a deck though, will they? They won't actually technically be in a deck. Starting Pokemon or not in a deck. So we'll have to maybe design those separately. Let's delete that. So we're gonna have level. Maybe have some level 2, and we don't want to ever get them too big. But we do always want to have, and these are just base. They will change. You can still encounter, even though it says its starting point is when you encounter this guy, he is that level or higher, because they can always be higher. Certain types of Pokemon, stronger ones, might start off like a 5, but a lot of them, you can probably do a level 3. Let's just do a variety of them. Do 3 and 2, couple of 2s, couple of 3s, and maybe an 8. Sure. And we'll even do a 10. On the odd chance that you encounter a 10 too early in the game, you'll probably lose. You won't be able to catch him. It'll be like a glimpse. So we want to have enough cards in there that encountering a big Pokemon like that is going to be tough. Actually, you know what? I think I'll set him at 7. So 8 will be the high one. I don't want to have them too big. If you run into them, I want to have a chance to catch them. Because early, like I said, these guys are going to all scale based on what your level is. But so you don't want to encounter these guys too often, right? So maybe in our deck we'll have a 5 being 5, 2, and 3. You might run into those. You want to have more of those in the deck, and then you can potentially run into other things. Now there's going to be a lot of cards in each one of these. I'm thinking each deck is going to be about 20 cards at least. So that means if we have, what did I say, 20 times however many decks we have is like 6. We're going to have water, mountain, fire, grass. Did I not even do a grass? I don't even think I did a grass. That's forest, I guess. I probably should have called it forest on my thing. Grass, and we need 10 of those. So let's just go down here. And then we also needed, we do need town. No. Okay, I'm getting myself confused. These are the area types. So these are just the area cards. Encounter cards are the ones we'll need towns and other types of information. These are the cards that you'll be drawing for encounters and for XP. So the XP will go under your Pokemon, and then when you level up, you can pick one of those cards or do a stat. The cards you can take would probably be like any card that's expendable, or if you have stamina, or if you increase your stamina, you can take one of those cards. If your HP goes up, you can take one of those cards. If you decide to increase your defense or your strength, then you don't get to take a card, because they don't actually go into building your deck up. They strength and a defense actually just go into making you a little bit more resilient during fights and whatever else, just giving you fewer cards in hand. So it's kind of depending on how you want to look at it. Taking damage, which stamina, actually removes cards from your deck and puts them off to the side, right? So even though it's kind of like having a higher defense doesn't take any cards from you when you absorb it. Your cards get to stay available to you as long as you're absorbing that damage. It also can potentially make you immune to some Pokemon, right? So as your defense goes up, as you get bigger, smaller Pokemon might not be able to even hurt you. Whereas stamina, they can still hurt you. They can still take cards away from you. And that, will start whittling you down as you get further on into the game. Plus, stamina is not an automatic. Consider that your trainer deck is made up of all your top 6. The quantity of cards in your trainer deck is equal to that of your top 6 trainers, or top 6 Pokemon. So if your HP on, if you've got 4, you average 4 cards per on all your top 6 Pokemon. It means you have 24 cards to work with. Now your stamina comes out of your trainer deck, but it is not extra cards that you have, unless you have some extra bonus cards you've earned along the way that are temporary. So stamina only really helps you for smaller Pokemon. Bigger Pokemon can use a stamina, but there'll be less cards available to your smaller Pokemon. So you want to give all your Pokemon their HP cards, and then whatever's left in your trainer deck can be distributed to stamina. So it's not a fixed amount. You don't get new cards simply because you have higher stamina. So keep that in mind. Let's see here. I haven't put a lot of numbers in here yet. Most guys are going to start, it's all about their starting strength. So, or starting values. So strength in a lot of these guys may be as little as, like for this guy, he's probably a 1 for starting strength. It's always going to be lower than your level. Actually, strength is the number of cards in hand, and you're probably, your skills are on your guys. So, yeah. And you're going to want plenty of energy in your deck, so you have a chance. You might not even be able to do anything. You may have waiting. You may have to wait, and you could just discard a card and draw for your energies. So as a weaker Pokemon, you won't be attacking as often. And don't worry, same goes for your opposition. They may have the same problem. They'll draw cards up. So maybe we'll have to have standard Pokemon fighting guards. They get to flip certain cards, and they'll do action A or action B. They always, maybe they always pick their highest attack or something. So if they don't have enough cards for the highest attack, then they do the next attack, or whatever it is. Anyway. So we got Pokemon strength for a 5. Well, he should probably be able to do at least 6 cards, right? No, sorry, it's less. It should be at least 3 cards. Let's say that. And this guy be a 2. This guy be a 2. This guy will be a 6. And this guy will be a 5. Why not? So at level 25, so you always got to think about, I'm sorry, at level 100, how many cards, and then everything has to proportionately go down by a level. So what I'll probably end up doing here is putting in a formula. So if everything's based on level 100, and we don't want a person to have 20 cards in their hands to pick from, really don't need that many cards for one thing. Maybe at level 100 you can have as many as 10 cards in your hand. So that would mean at level 10 you may only be able to have a couple cards in your hand for each level below level 10. Maybe it starts off at 2, and then at 10 you go to 3, and at 20 you go to 4, 30 you go to 5, and so that would put you at 12 or 13 cards, but at level 100. So it's going to be pretty hard to get to those levels, but you're only going to get extra cards into your hand draw every so often, and you do get better and stronger, and that makes it easier to cast your tough spells because you're more likely to have what you need for it. But you're also going to have, you may have to do the small spells every now and then. You may not always have the cards you need to do all the big hit attacks. So yeah, I'll probably end up doing a formula on here, and this is one of the things I like to do. Formulas make they're awesome for balancing. So what I should probably do is identify that. I'll work on that a little bit in my head, write it down, and then I will come back to it. What do we got here? We're at 56 minutes. Let's go ahead and do this for a couple more minutes, and then I will call it, and we'll get back to it a little bit later today. And hopefully I might even come up with some ideas for how we write the formulas for doing strength, for example. And so these are starting strength. The cards in hand are actually what your strength is. So if you increase your strength for any reason, you can, just trying to think about it. If you increase your strength, then the cards in hand go up. So at level 10, you may be able to get more stuff, but I'm actually thinking your stamina, your defense, your strength are all going to be 2 points per increase. So the number of cards you get is basically divided by 2, and round down. And maybe it's round up. You could probably do round up. It's probably not a big deal, but either way, you're going to have to get, 2. No, round up doesn't work, huh? Because if you divide 1 by 2, you get 1. If you divide 2 by 2, you get 1. If you divide 3 by 2, you'd get 2. Still thinking that one out. I guess we could try it either way, round up, round down, and if it don't work, then we go the other direction and see if that makes a better difference. But either way, we're going to have a value that's going to be based on the max level of each Pokemon, which is 100, and we'll probably put formulas in for almost all of these things, and that'll tell you how many cards or whatever you can have in your hand. Now, these are things that people have to be able to work out on their own, right? So my calculations on dividing by 100 and setting up these will be basically to make it so that we don't put numbers on the Pokemon cards that are unreasonable for maxing out. So when a person starts, we got to think, oh, what is it if you add 10? Well, we don't want that 10 to make you have 75 cards in a Pokemon deck. So we got to consider that everything adjusts accordingly. And at level 100, you're going to have the biggest deck, biggest hand, biggest whatever, but it's also not going to be something you hit very often. In the game itself, at level 25, Pokemon will have smaller, more manageable decks, and campaigns can be a little bit more interesting. They take longer. You'll have bigger decks, more powerful Pokemon, and do more things. But we also have to be able to set up all of these cards and then we'll be able to start putting them into Publisher as well. So we get a few of them in here. We'll just keep adding. We can add cards, add abilities, add whatever we want, and then they'll show up in the Publisher. Or if we add a new ability, obviously we have to put the field on there, but it'll already be in our card. All the other cards get them. So any kind of tweak or change we need to make to these abilities, we just change it here in the spreadsheet, and bam, it's already in the Publisher. I don't have enough fields on here. It's been an hour, but I will continue to mull that over. And when we meet again a little bit later today, shooting for 4 o'clock, I will go over these more. All right, so that's today. That's day 10. We've been doing this design of this game for 10 days now, and well, it's only a couple hours a day, so it's a slow go. Obviously, if you put 6-8 hours in, you're going to make a lot more progress. But who has full-time opportunity to do this for fun? Not very many people. And unfortunately, not everybody gets to do this for their job. And that's me. So I'll talk to you later. See you this afternoon. Bye.